Hi yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my living room in Vancouver, Canada. And this is video number 14. Today's date is November 27, 2019. And I wanted to welcome back all the subscribers who have recently subscribed. And if you're new to this channel, please sit back and watch the next few moments when I go through some of my yarny experiences, just to tell you a little bit about this channel. I talk about things that are crochet and knitted related, and yeah, so you might recall a couple of videos back I set myself 3 targets or 3 projects to complete before the year was out. I'm happy to say that this week has been a long week, but I've completed 2 of them and I have 1 more left to do. I'm really enjoying these 3 projects, and so without further ado, let's get stuck into project number 1. So you may recall that I knitted this as a vest for my husband, and I will link down below to the description box where you can find the vest pattern. It's a free pattern, and he wasn't wearing it as a vest, so we both decided that it would be better off as a sweater. So what I had done was I pulled out, there was a small ribbing around here for the vest sleeve, and I had pulled that out and picked up stitches and created long sleeves. So unfortunately I don't have a pattern for the long sleeves, but what I had done was I picked up, I think, 84 stitches around the sleeve hole, and then I just slowly did decreases until I got to the cuff of the sleeve, where I did a couple of rows, maybe I think 12 rows of 1 by 1 ribbing, and love the pattern. It's wonderful, and he likes wearing it better as a sweater. And for Canadian winters, I think a sweater would be well worth the change, because it keeps his body a bit warmer. And I love the 2 columns here that they have of the yarn over, and a couple of stitch change work out here, so you've got little eyelets of interest, and a cute little neck, 2 buttons, kind of just there. It's such a cute little feature of the sweater. So project 1 down. That was a fun project to do, because I found that November was looking back at things and seeing what was not useful in my knitted projects, and trying to create useful things that I could transform those projects into. So this was one which now is going to be utilized more, hopefully. The second project that I completed is behind me here. So I had, my first knitted project was a scarf. I will link into this little clip here where I feature it in video number 2, I think it is, of this very scarf here. It was around 6.5 feet, I think, of scarf, which is featured in this blanket. This is what I had learnt. My very first project was, this is the wool. This is the knit pattern that I had chosen. The stitch work was the 1 by 1 ribbing, and I did around 40 stitches across with this bulky 5, and I knitted for about 4 nights. I was hooked and got around 6 feet of it. So what I had to do was I unraveled the scarf, and I left myself a little swatch, and I thought to myself, what could I do with the rest of the yarn that I had? I had this huge ball that had made up that scarf, so I knitted the swatch up again in the same size as what I had. So what is this? It's probably an 8 by 8 swatch here, and I re-knitted 8 by 8 swatches and made this lap blanket. So project 2 was a lap blanket. I had some fun. I'll just maybe I'll get up and I'll show you how big it is. It's 42 inches by 44 inches, almost a square. And all the panels that you see here, plus another 2 of the variegated wool, sorry, it's acrylic, is from that scarf. So yeah, it was a fun project at times. I had sort of like a struggle with figuring out what kind of pattern I wanted to do with the little swatches, and so I had laid out on the floor, and I'll insert a couple of photographs perhaps at the end of this video, some arrangements that I had with the swatches. I had actually crocheted and knitted up several different swatches that did not make it into the blanket, but after playing around with the colors, I had settled on the yellow that features in the sweater. In the blanket. So I really liked the end result of the blanket because we have two of my favorite things in, I guess, my yarn experience is both knitting and crocheting. So this blanket does play into a lot of those aspects. So I've got a knitted portion, and I've also got crocheted portion. So it is a lovely blend of the two crafts that make up my experience with yarn. And I have another one on the way because I was telling you about having made many swatches that didn't make it into this particular blanket. So at one point I was going to add in a different set of swatches, which it's more of this oatmeal-y color. So I made a series of these up. I think there's like 7 in this little baggie here, and I'm going to make another knit crochet blanket, and I'm not too sure what I'm going to pair this with. So this project, having done this project, has now sprung into another project as well. So a little bit more about this blanket here is when I was knitting it up and choosing the colors, I really liked the idea that this reminded me of, strangely enough, the colorways and choices of how it looks. Reminded me of Campfire and Brunch at the same time. These large yellow squares kind of reminded me a little bit of cheese, like melted cheese sandwiches, and the colorway within the variegated reminds me a little bit of bacon strips and toast. So there is a panel up here as well which uses the yellow, and I pair it with a different lighter yellow, so it reminds me of a little bit of scrambled eggs. So I kind of got the idea of it being more like a camp brunch blanket. So strange how our visual minds work at some points. So a little bit about the yarn that was used in that blanket. I picked up this Burnett Cozy Style from Yarnspiration, this ball of yarn, and I got this from Walmart, and that made up the majority of the yellow color. It's 100% acrylic, and this particular ball here is 16 ounces or 54 grams, and it has 928 meters. So the colorway for this is autumn yellow. So I probably used more than half the ball, and what I discovered, which keeps your yarn nice and clean, is that I just poked a hole here in the end where the center pull is, and I'm just pulling it out of the bag. So the yarn is kept super clean, and it is contained in here, so there's not going to be any fraying around or jostling around or yarn split, sort of like tangling off into the wilderness. So that's a little tip there. The other color that I paired it with was this kind of lemony color which variegates between very pale yellow and more of a goldy yellow. It's Peyton's, what is it called? Peyton's Denemy. And it's what I got from the tent sale at Yarnspiration, sorry, at Spinrite. And I got a pack of this, and I believe it was really inexpensive, but I bought a couple of packs in different colorways. But this colorway here is called Lemon Curry Denim, and each skein you get 3 ounces or 85 grams in the skein, and it's considered a four weight, and I had paired the two together for that scrambled egg swatch square that I have in the blanket. Yeah. And for the scarf knitted panels, and also the extra panels that I knitted up, they were from Michael's Loops and Thread Charisma brands, and I believe the colorway for this particular one here was called Mountain Majesty or Mountain Majestic, and this colorway here was called Nordic. So yeah, it's great that it's off my projects list of things to do, and I did enjoy actually single crocheting it together. Seeing all those swatches was kind of a little overwhelming, that I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, but when I watched a couple of videos to get the pieces together, I felt a little bit more, I guess, assured that the project would come together well. So I will link a couple of options for the tutorials that I found that were very helpful for getting panels together. There are a couple of different ways that you can get panels together, and I chose the single crochet version, which I think gives it that rustic cabin feel as well. So number 2, project down. And number 3, the one that I was talking to you about a few days back, I'm just going to get up and grab these. Is this cap that I went and did a couple of errors on, and I'm going to change this cap into a market bag. So I'm having to pull out the crocheted part, which is the side panels, and increase the circular disc here with a couple of more rounds of increases using this crocheted texture, which is a double crochet through the back loop. So, or back post I should say, double crochet through the back post, and then for the sides I'm going to be doubling up a blue and green called Breezy Stripes from Red Heart, and I'm going to put them together so that there's some structure in the market bag. So those will be the side walls, and for the strap, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with the handle or straps right now, but I have some tutorials that I've got to watch which will help me decide on the type of crocheted strap that I'm going to build up with this one. So those are the 3 projects that are, 2 of them are completed and 1 is still on the go. The other thing that I did was I worked up a hat from a yarn that I purchased and I put online in one of my hauls. I think the last haul that I got from, I'm just gonna think here, I think I got a Lovecraft haul, and it's featured in a video, and I'll link it down below, but it was Cascades Pinwheel, and it was in the colorway 27, I believe it's called Autumn, I think it's called Autumn Gold or something, but the colorway number isn't, the colorway name isn't on this skein, it just has the colorway number. So I was really excited to work this one up into a project, so I finished another one of Crystal's beanies, and I'll link the Bag O' Day tutorial to this beanie down in the description box. I did a little alteration there with the number of stitches, and I did a little bit of an increase as it goes off of the rim here and goes into these kind of like corduroy looking cables. I added some extra stitch work here to give it a bit more of a round shape, like coming off of the ribbing, so that it contours the head a little bit looser. So yeah, I did that one, and I love the way that that Cascade pinwheel just came out with this particular stitch work. It's very autumnal, is that what you call it? Autumn colors. It's great for this season right now. So I'll probably give this one away, but love, love, love that. And I think that actually catches me up with what I had completed over the week. And just to give you a bit of a background of the week we had, we celebrated hubby's birthday. His birthday was yesterday, but we went to see Cirque du Soleil's, I think you pronounce it Luzia, which is a performance in Under the Big Top here in Vancouver, and it's here up until mid-December sometime. Anyway, it was a lovely evening, and those acrobats and those artists are just phenomenal. They're very haunting and just beautiful delight to watch all the colors and all of the costumes, the singing. It was a wonderful night, so we really enjoyed celebrating it with such a diverse and talented bunch of performers, which was great. We also did some decorating in the house for Christmas. Our tree is just over there. That's why I normally sit over there in the living room giving these podcasts, but I've been kind of like pushed over here to the window. And yeah, so all in all, a great week. And I wanted to just encourage anyone who's been watching and is new to this channel, that if they like what they've seen and they've been inspired by maybe getting some tips or tricks from this video, please consider subscribing, hit that like button, share amongst your friends who might be interested in this video as well. That would be great. And there's a notification bell there too. Hit that notification bell if you want to see more of my upcoming videos. I'll be back in a little while. I'm going to talk about, what am I talking about in the next video? Oh yes, I am going to be talking about this sweater and also some techniques on when you are first going into knitting or crocheting and thinking of how to tackle it, because I went through the same thing as well. So I will see you in those videos, hopefully. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.